What's going on, world? It's your boy at Big Game James _36, and this is Big Games B.S, part of that media group presented by the MFTK Foundation. The MFTK Foundation is the go-to website for all of the different things that we do with the foundation. We just wrapped up our final 7v7 tournament. Happy about that. Transitioning over into the book bag drives, as well as 11-man football with the Atlantic Stingrays, and a bunch of other different things that we have coming up into the community. Really happy about where it's kind of been going, and just continue to press forward and continue to move forward and find unique, fun things to be able to do with the foundation. We will get more into that, what we have going, and some of the stuff that we want to push and pursue. But also, man, hold up, man. They told me it was dry. They told me it was dry, man. That thing looking drippy right now, man. I don't know, man. I gotta get to the barber. Once I get to the barber, boy, I'm gonna start running errands. Like going places that I didn't realize. I don't know if the light just hit it the right way, but it is starting to get curly. I have absolutely no idea what to do with this stuff. I just want to wake up and just live.
Keep it conditioned for now. If you can keep it moist like that, then you're good.
That's the big thing. But we're gonna do all kinds of stuff, have fun, get into shenanigans. Miles, if you Miles or Jade, I'm just gonna give you anybody in the Jacksonville area. V's Pizza every Monday. This is not a paid advertisement. This is how good the shit is. They make a burger only on Mondays. So only today they make the burger in the oven.
Ooh.
So it's got the char grilledness. And they always have like a specialty one. I don't know what the one today was, but I had like a pineapple one a couple weeks ago. And that shit was fire. But like, just for those who are looking for an experience. So it was like they had the burger. It was like some pineapple chutney, a slice of pineapple. Like it was just, I don't know. People say they don't like it. Was pineapple aioli. It'd be funny to me. People don't like mayonnaise, but they like aioli. I don't know if anybody needs to tell you this, guys. Maybe this is me protecting you. Aioli ain't nothing but fancy mayonnaise. Just so you know that. Just
I don't know what that is.
It's fancy mayonnaise. It's just like they put like different seasonings and spices and like whatever, man. But like V's Pizza, just so you know, like just good? Yeah, like so different. They have different variations. Today I think it's the black and blue burger. A bacon and blue. So it's like they'll have like blue cheese, whatever. But like it's actually a pretty. And then they got these like potato skins or whatever, like loaded potato skins. They give you 2 of them. Yeah, so like if you try to figure out what to do for lunch, that's probably what you need to do for lunch. I'm just here to Bert since I cut the dreads, I'm really now, man. Feeling light-skinned. I may give up my quest to become dark. I'm gonna embrace the Jaden. I'm gonna go in there, start listening to R&B music. I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna dress like Heavy D in the 90s. Just started to try to do, I saw me and my nephew had more of a connection this weekend because he's light skinned with curly hair. I was trying to get him to give me his techniques of what he does, because his hair is amazing. Like he's going to be like, you know what? Sorry, my sister better keep him away from me because he's going to want to come to Unc, because Unc's going to make him diabolical. Like, just because he is really right-skinned. Like he was extra light this weekend. It was his birthday. Came back off of that stuff at 7-on-7 tournament. We were up in Atlanta at the Sevens, participating, getting a lot of love from the national community. We got some, our kids competed, didn't do what I needed them to do, but I'll have an MFTK segment moment here in a little bit. But we're Miles is getting this light right. I was getting that before we get into other stuff, but trying to think V's Pizza. There's other stuff, but let's go. Let's start our show. We're gonna start our show off the same way we start our show each and every day with a good word of prayer.
You already know what time it is, dog. Thank you, God, for another day. Thank you, God, for another day. Thank you, God. God is great all the time. All the time. You fucking wanna thank you, God. Thank you, God.
As my Samoan brethren said, you motherfuckers better thank God. That's what he said. Let's get that going. Jaden, what are we talking about today?
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another morning edition of Big Games B.S. here on Monday, April 27th. This is your first app at the show. Welcome. And if you're wondering why it's called Big Games BS, it's because we bring the good, the bad, and the BS of the sports world, especially football, to your screens, eyes, and ears. First things first, we have some MFTK stuff to get through before getting into all things NFL draft. Going to break down the NFL draft, some of the more notable picks, going to break down the Jaguars picks, and we're going to touch up on some other college football and NFL topics along the way. But gonna finish off our show like we normally do with our Big Games BS section, where we bring the scope of the convo outside of the typical football world. We have our BS or busting food review segment. Then we're gonna close off our show with our OG Wyland segment. But first things first, in this MFTK segment, we have some golf to talk about.
Yeah, trying to get this this inaugural golf tournament up and running. It's a little bit more detail. Anybody who if you want to sign up, you got to start getting these spots fast. We need to got to put deposits down and shit. So we got to be able to do these different things. We have the golfers. We want to be able to do this. Anybody wants to sponsor their company, that's kind of where I'll be going these next couple of weeks. Actually, FSU had their golf tournament this past Thursday. Yeah, this past Thursday. And I had to go check it out. And it was no, it wasn't Thursday. I was going Thursday. Yeah, no, it was Thursday, draft day. And I got a chance to meet the general manager and the assistant general manager. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we do the FSU segment. But there's a lot of people who want to get in here. There's a lot of golf tournaments for dumb shit. This one is actually for effective things and to lead in the community and trying to get change, not just with football stuff, but we have we may have another site. What a lot of people don't know is we distribute and give away a lot of the bags, but we're probably going to do we're probably going to add Lake City as they have become a part of the park that I've kind of gotten with with the Atlantic Stingrays. We're going to make sure that those young men out that way get some bags and I'll make sure everybody in the park that I'm in are going to get bags. So again, one of the funniest things is that when people kind of come at me, I get an opportunity to do more. It just gives me the more motivation to prove that I probably am diabolical with some things. I probably do some things in business. I'm a terrible competitor. I'm a terrible enemy. I'm a good friend. But we're going to do some more stuff in the community. So we're going to have, obviously, Tallahassee is the book bag drive, my birthday weekend. Jacksonville, still going to do Orlando. We'll get Lake City going. I think we're doing 2 in Jacksonville. Hold on, make sure I get these dates right for the one I'm partnering with, but here in Jacksonville. But we're going to have a lot of good stuff going on here in the Jacksonville community in Jacksonville, Tallahassee, and then also we're gonna move some work up to Atlanta. I think my boy Grimes is gonna do the book bag drive again up that way. Hey, when is did you ever get the date for the book bag drive here this year? Or you said you're doing it earlier this year, right?
Yeah, we are doing it. Jerry would have all that.
Oh,
we need to meet about that still.
Okay.
Yes, she has a date, and it's I want to say June.
Okay. All right. I just gotta make sure I'm in town because you said you want me to be.
trying to partner with the school board this year as well. Do stuff for teachers too.
I'm with. I need that. I need that. I need some good school board press, so I can just take the pictures and show it to the principal at Mandarin and see, like, look, I curse. Like, y'all need more. What you need cursors and drinkers to do more stuff in the community. If everybody cursed a little bit more, the community might be a little bit better place. But
what makes cursing worse than stealing gum, Coach, or anything else?
I don't.
Folks. Like, I don't curse, but I don't think I'm better than the next person because who does?
It's just using exclamation points with words. Man. That's all it is.
I'm gonna tell you the biggest difference thing between you and some other cursors that I know. And my grandma that was born in whatever year she was born in, old, always said curse words are used primarily by people whose vocabularies are limited. We know that is not the case with you. So therefore, there is a different meaning to your use of choice words, and it's for effect, it's for impact.
Yes. I personally believe the one that was one of my best jokes. I was so creative, man. I won't say it again because I know your phone be tapped, but I don't want you implicated. But that was one of my most creative disses that I've ever had. I was like, I mean, I'm going to use it again one day, but I'm just going to try not to. Now I got to figure out what I got to do to get fired from bowls. And once I figure that out, then life would be great. But probably just don't piss off the wrong wealthy person.
Bowls understand this as well, man. We want representation. We also know it's just representation. Right. The right scenario. The coach left on his own will and accord.
Yeah.
His work schedule didn't allow it. He didn't get fired. And they just brought in another brother from Pakistan, Elliot. So it's like, you no, but they're gonna expect them lacrosse winning. And
yeah. We
more people trying to get in. Nah, bro.
But cool.
Just don't. Some of the swim coaches and get caught in bed with a student. You fine.
Yeah, they ain't got to worry about that. But I want to get that on the calendar so we can start so I can start marketing it and making sure we have the people there. I'll get with Miss Jerry.
She running ball, so she wants us to be.
All right, I'm gonna hit you up. I'll hit you up later. Bye. Yeah. So, anyways, it's gonna be bigger. We'll have more book bag drives, more stuff. I got shout out to my guy Carlin Berry. He brought up a bunch of my kids. Last minute, got the passenger van, drove them up there to Atlanta. That's what I was telling you about Bert. We're gonna feed these streets, man. That is my pet. That is my love project, my passion project. I'm gonna go into the inner city, and we're gonna come up with $50 bags or even whatever kind of the price is. I'm gonna buy the cow. I'm gonna break it down. We're gonna have some fresh produce, and we're gonna move that work in the communities. People saying they ain't got no fresh meat, no produce, no other stuff. Like, we're gonna get this work, and we're gonna take the thought process and the business plan that destroyed so many African American communities, and we're gonna flip that bad boy, and we're gonna try to do it in a positive way, because one of the best marketing and distribution channels that methods that I've ever seen is cocaine and crack. Like, that shit was effective. It was, so we're going to try to take that, use it in a positive manner, and take back these areas. So again, that's what I'm about with MFTK. Been doing this shit for off and on for 20 years. I just had more hair. Not the only difference. Now I got to find a new logo. This shit doesn't even put the golf tournament back up there, Jaden. It just I don't even know. I guess we got to keep it up there because people gonna come and be like, "Where's the dude with the hair?" Now that damn, that's tough. Never mind, don't worry about it. We can go on to the next thing.
All those old cartoon images gotta go.
I gotta find all new shit. Wasn't thinking about that.
Before we get into some college topics, OL Coach Rosen put this graphic on Twitter. So he wanted to inform everybody on the timeline about the multi-sport athletes that dominate the NFL Combine. So he said nearly 88% of players invited to recent NFL scouting combines, including the 2026 class, or multi-sport athletes in high schools. So if you look at the bottom, you can see the historical percentage of multi-sport athletes going back to the 2021 combine with 89% to the most recent combine with 88% as well. So in the top right, you can see that multi-sport athletes bring more to the table with better athleticism, increased competitive experience, improved coordination and body control, and built resilience and adaptability as well. James, I know this is something you like to echo as well, the importance of playing more than one sport. And it looks like for the top of the line NFL athletes, all of them, well, most of them, a great majority of them play multiple sports.
We have to, words have meaning, right? And I encourage you, it's anything is better than sitting at home. All right. So that's the first thing. It's not athletes who play multiple sports perform better. It's athletes who are active perform better. I'd argue that what I just witnessed this past spring with 7-on-7, that is a sport.
Right.
That is it's a little different. It's similarities to football, but it's different. The guys who played got better because typically got better than people who stayed at home. Coordination is nothing more than the repeated pattern of events that you learn how to master. If you want to get sprinters, sprint. That's what happens. But just because you run track doesn't mean you're going to get faster. It means you'll be in better condition and you will be better than someone who stayed at home. But it doesn't mean you're going to, and then a lot of sport comes from the confidence. Elite level athletes, there's only about and this is me giving you science. There's a 4% difference between your child or you and the person who is the elite athlete if you're in that sport. It doesn't sound like a lot, but the law of compounding interest kind of comes into play over time. They're doing 4% more than what you are doing on average. So they make exponential gains over time because they just do a little bit more. They play more. They're outside more. They're doing these things. But like if I put my son in, like my son plays soccer, right, this year. He is a better athlete than most of the people on that field. He is not a good soccer player because he's not skilled. Regardless of what you feel, you have to be, this is the difference in the elite are the skilled, and skill only comes from specialization. You have to eventually specialize into something. Bryson Wright will be in this category one day. Bryson Wright plays basketball. Bryson Wright participates in basketball because he's 6'4", runs a 4.5, and jumps 40 inches in the vertical. You know what that makes him? A really fucking good high school basketball player. Probably could be a decent college basketball player, but he would have to grow. His height will take him out of the realm. You know why? Because the motherfuckers, the short players are 6'6" now. He's a tall football player. He's a short basketball player. So we got to stop just dropping these stats, these things without kind of giving context behind it. Because I promise you this, I have seen college coaches, and it's a reason why they stop at Mandarin. They don't stop by or stop through. They stop at Mandarin. Our guys play fucking football. They might do other sports, but they fucking play football. And I also want to see is how many of these guys were doing it all the way up through their senior year. It's impossible. You know why? If you were really like that in basketball, you wouldn't see guys graduate early and early enroll. College coaches are literally pushing something, and other people are telling them something that's antiquated. 20 years ago, when I played, yes, I did football, and I played football. I was on the track team. I went to track meets because that's where the girls were. And my mama wouldn't let me come home. I also did weightlifting, not because, I was strong, but like my mama didn't let me come home. I needed to do something. But then when I started, but performance training had just started. I did those things as well too. But like right now, if my son is not over 6 foot, his ass is not doing any other sport that does not translate into football. We may do lacrosse, but to quote Bryson's dad, the weekdays he plays basketball, the weekends are ours. So if Trey wants to play lacrosse when he gets to high school, I'm perfectly fine for it. Just know on the fucking weekends, we're probably going to be at a combine or we're going to be at a 7-on-7 tournament, period. That's just the facts, and that's just how it go. I've seen enough kids do it. I'm actively participate. They want you to play other sports, but you know what they also want you to do? Come to junior days. They also want you to come see. I can't offer you until I see you. So how? You got to start. The one thing I kind of want to start telling people, say, how? Push back. How? Oh, if they like you, they'll come find you. But then they always tell people, I want you to get on my campus. You get on campus, then I'll do this. It's impossible for it to work both ways. Utterly impossible for it to work both ways. But you do need to stay active, and you do need to do things year-round on a year-round basis in order for you to be able to get better. But I promise you this: if you're a pitcher, pitchers pitch. If you're a baseball player, the way it's going now, if you're not getting, even lacrosse, if you're not playing wall ball and you're not working on your hand-eye coordination, the speed of the game when you come in, you're going to be delayed. And now the games are, because there are people who are specializing, it's becoming a higher thing. But the sports performance training is so good. Like, that's what people really don't. That's why I'm like, you really don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Sports performance training is so good that it counteracts you not playing another sport. Is the simplicity of it is the push-pull concept. For every push, you got to have a pull.
What do you think about the idea that, well, I know in basketball, there's been so much early specialization. It might not be the same for football, that they're starting to worry that this early specialization is causing for acute basketball injuries earlier on in the career.
That's a lack of training. So that's playing too much.
Right.
So like, it's not the specialization is not the problem. The problem is what you're not is training the overall athlete. And I've seen this enough. You got the issue comes in is too many people telling kids too many different things. And then you've got some kids who are serious about it and have genetically like phenomenal bodies. And then one of the things that just happened this weekend was 7-on-7. My boy stayed up till 12:30 in the morning. And then we had to play at 8:25. The motherfuckers didn't want to get out of bed at 7 a.m. That it would have taken us a 30-minute drive. They could not. There was no delay. It is fucking impossible. Like, if you're an elite athlete and you go to bed at 12:30 p.m. and you have to roll out of bed and play at 8:25, you have to be up at 6 a.m.
Right.
That's the truth. You have to try to grab a hotel meal real quick at 7, because that's when it starts. We needed to be on the road by 7:10, 7:15 to be able to play at the level in which we needed to play. So imagine you do things like that every weekend. They're not eating properly. They're eating McDonald's, which, hey, to be honest with you, at that age, you got to eat dirty because it's impossible to have enough calories because of how much they're burning. But if you're so again, push, pull, right? So jump, that's a push. I got to do something to pull. I got to do something to strengthen that. So I have to get in the weight room. I have to start working on plyometrics, ballistic training, learning how to land, learning how to properly jump, learning how to properly explode, learning about recovery. Like, one of the things you can say what you want to say about LeBron. LeBron spends an incredible amount of time in his recovery.
Earlier preemptive physical therapy.
Mm-hmm. So there's this thing called a functional FMS. It started when I was in training. I even thought it was BS until I really took the time to learn it. Functional movement screening. There's something that you could test, and they're going to give you a score. I believe it's 0 to 3, and there's a couple of different exercises that you'll do. And what it can do is it can measure your quad, like what your quad, what your quad flexibility and strength is, your hamstrings, your hips, your shoulders, your ankle flexion. We can tell based upon doing certain movements what your probability of injury is. based upon, like, if you have a 0, which typically comes from a surgery, we're good. But like if you don't have, like, that's not good. Excuse me. A 3 is perfect. So when people have more flexibility in certain areas, they're more explosive. So what you do is at a young age, this is why training at a young age is important. If anything, play a lot of sports when you're younger. And as you get older, start to find the ones that they're passionate about and start to kind of like level it out.
Right.
But what we want to do is teach them, like, start working on, man, I'm bad. I'm gonna give shit. This is the game. I'm gonna give you guys the free game here. Anybody want to be a sports performance trainer? I'm about to give you the whole game right here. I promise you it's nowhere near as hard, complex as people make it seem. There are different training things you could do before puberty, and then once you get to it. In theory, I could take an athlete without an ounce of athletic ability, and if I start training them at 3 to 18, and I could take a kid who has all the athletic ability, and the kid with no athletic ability from training will be a better athlete than the person with all the athletic ability who didn't train. At the younger ages, you cannot. There's only limited testosterone that's being between 0 to about 12 that is kind of released, and basically until kids start hitting puberty. So strength training is not about putting weight on. Strength training at that time is about range of motion and explosion and explosion through the range of motion. So we're working on flexibility. So it's phases: flexibility, agility, speed, endurance, strength. So flexibility, agility, speed, endurance, strength. I'll use Kai. At Kai's age, I only need to be worrying about my 7-year-old. I only need to be worrying about all of those things. But flexibility, endurance, and flexibility, agility, and endurance. Speed comes from how much stronger he gets. But if I'm working on those other things, I can maximize his strength. But I'm only going to get so strong. But the coordination of movements is agility. So if there are certain movements, so like that's why the short shuttle is relative to everywhere. But if I can teach them the coordination of the movements and range of motion in the body, what's going to happen is those are going to become mastered. So over time, they're going to become stronger and more explosive because they naturally know the movement. The older they get, now once our muscles start setting in, once we start having more testosterone flowing, our range of motion starts to get impaired because of life. So like that's why some of us right now, like they always talk about don't let kids lift weights, and it's an old wise tale. But here's the reason why: if I go right now and I try to lift 400 pounds, I'm gonna hurt my back. But I'm done growing. If I go try to make Kai squat 400 pounds, he's gonna hurt his back, but he's still growing. So think about it like how when you have a tree and the limb starts going like this, you see the people put the stick in the stick and then they tie it to the tree so that it can grow properly. That's what would eventually, like if I'm put 400 pounds on him, I'm doing this. But if I teach him range of motion, flexibility, coordination of movements, that's like putting that stick there. And in theory, they can actually grow taller as opposed to stunting your growth. Most complex. The whole industry is basically, do you know what do you know what happens when you add stress to a stimulus? Anybody know what happens when you add stress to a stimulus? Meaning what happens when I put somebody in an environment, that's the stress, putting somebody in a stressful environment, and you are the stimulus. You're going to adapt. So that's kind of why you see that's kind of what happens. Like, so again, eventually the stress causes the injuries. But if you actually train for stress, you become less likely to get. Now that doesn't account for things like somebody running through your fucking knee at 20 miles per hour, but it can make you tougher. Like people didn't even work on landing. Like it's shit like that. That actually, like there are like stepping on a box, like being on a box, step down, land, and then jump, explode out. That's teaching you how to land and explode. That is a relative movement to sport. The problem is people only want to hoop. The problem is people only want to play football. The problem is people only want to do those things without realizing that you got to be able to get to that. But there's a ton of programs that are really, really good, and the good programs incorporate all of those things, which is something that I want to do. I don't want to get back into training per se, but I do want to get back into making sure all of my kids have proper training as well as academics and all of these other different things. But like, you can teach people how to run fast. You can teach people how to do all these different things. But like, long story short, sorry, apologize. That is what I did for a long time. It's a fancy way for that guy to say, for me to say that's bullshit. Put your kids in a bunch of sports if you want to, as they're going through high school, and may the odds be for you. But I'm just gonna, as they're young, it's cool. Keep them active. Put them in as much stuff as you can, especially if you can't afford performance training. Personally, I'm going to go listen to guys like John Brown, who has done it with his kids and other kids. Listen to me or what. All I know is my track record shows that I put about 1,000 kids in college through performance training. Don't listen.
We need a training set.
I don't care. I know this. I stopped training because I realized my son could not catch a football. And then I thought about how many other kids' sons I played catch with, and they're in college. I'd be damned if I'm going to try to not get my own goddamn son in college when I done put everybody else in college. I don't want to pay for college. He's either going to go to school because he's really smart and playing football, or he's going to be like his mama, all he could fucking be. And either way, I am completely content with those things. But you already, what you need is you need God. You need you need genetics. So if you're 5'4" and your baby mama is 5'4", it doesn't matter how much training, how many sports you put them in. It's probably just let them have fun and life. And if that kid is 6 foot, I'm telling you in love, that's your kid because you fed it, but that's not your kid. She stepped out on you with a big dude. But if you want to have effective kids, you need to go breed. Find a big light-skinned girl from Iowa State. Florida State just got a little cute black girl. I think that she's 6'3". She can't hoop at all, but but if you get her, you probably gonna have some athletic babies. Go find one of them.
Speaking of FSU, let's get into some FSU news. So, according to Jordan Schultz, Florida State quarterback Tommy Castellanos accepted an invite to the Titans rookie minicamp, but he'll be listed as a wide receiver per sources. I'm told he also plans to attend the Dolphins rookie minicamp as well, also under the wide receiver position. James, it looks like he decided to go a different route, trying to get on the field by any means possible, even if that means playing as a wide receiver. It looks like you're muted, James. I can't.
This is where people have to have real conversations with kids and do what you want. And I was dealing with this with a young man, TJ Cole, phenomenal kid. I personally think he would be power 4 or a G5 if he would have played wide receiver. But he wanted to play quarterback, man. Fight the power, baby. Measurables, and this is what we were just talking about, have a lot to do with it. You cannot be a munchkin and play quarterback. God, it is hard. This is coming from a guy. I didn't play quarterback, but I played running back, and we had pass pro. I'm 6 foot in the media guy. 5'11", probably 5'11". 6'1" in J's. But I'm just being honest. Them boys was 6'6", 6'5". Like, they're taller than us in their O-line pass stance. So when they pop up the block, you got to look over them and you've got to diagnose where people are at. Blitz is coming. And I only had to do half of the field. A quarterback has to scan everything. And it's hard to see over the line. You have to find passing lanes, and you got to negotiate these big, large mammals coming at you. And I remember telling B.J. Daniels this exact same thing. B.J. Daniels played the 2 Super Bowls, Tallahassee, Lincoln. Probably one of the quarterback, going to always be a legend at South Florida. And like, you're looking at him and you're like, yo, you do what you want to do, but eventually you're going to have to learn how to run a slant, a dig, a hitch, and a go. The quicker you learn how to play that, the better life is going to be for you. And you will play in the league more than likely. Nah, man, I'm going to prove the world wrong. I'm going to do this. And I'm like, all right, bro. Like, hey, I want you to prove the world wrong. That's got to come from you. You the one who got to take the hits. You the one who got to do everything. But look at it now. You wanted to prove the world wrong. You went to UCF, didn't prove the world wrong. You went to Boston College, didn't prove the world wrong. You went to Florida State, didn't prove the world wrong. Now you are here, and you're not wanting to prove the world wrong because you're not going to beat that. And on top of that, let's digest it. Jaden, can you read me the quote from my man Jordan from my Starbucks brethren? Read it to me again.
Castellanos has accepted an invite to the Titans rookie minicamp, but he'll be listed as a wide receiver. I'm told he also plans to attend the Dolphins minicamp, also as a receiver.
So that they have to have practice when they have minicamps. So there is contracts that are signed, and there are camp invites. A camp invite means they need bodies. Gets the opportunity to prove everybody wrong. But, you know, you don't really have any security. So, like, that's why you can accept multiple invites. So, long story short, it's not looking up for him. I hope the best for him, though. I really hope the young man succeeds. Seems to be a great individual. Just didn't win enough games in Florida State for us to really truly care about all of that stuff. So, yeah.
We also have some more FSU news coming from the running back room. So, Florida State running back Roydell Williams, former Alabama running back, has also accepted an invite to the Titans rookie minicamp. He had 15 career touchdowns at FSU and Alabama. Just another person from the FSU roster getting that nod, getting that call, James.
Yeah, and just the guy who I thought was going to have so much more impact than what he really what he had. I mean, I ain't gonna hold you, man. That man looked like it's a beast right there, man. So I wish my arms looked like that, but that's what they used to. It's a saying in football: "You look like Tarzan, play like Jane." Just did not do anything.
James, we got some news from a former quarterback. Now, we did discuss TC, but we're going to go a little bit back because it looks like Mr. Jordan Travis is a part of Seminole Boosters. So they announced that Jordan Travis is teaming up with Seminoles United to Life, a new way to connect through exclusive content. And you can't miss events as well, and one-of-a-kind experiences. Looks like Trav is teaming up with the Boosters, so looks like he's going down that path post NFL career with his podcast as well. I haven't seen too much of his podcast content lately, but he did get announced by Seminole Boosters about this, so just wanted to share this with everybody.
This is a good thing. I think one of the things I think FSU hasn't done a good enough job of, and it's not their job to do it, but there are a lot of guys like Freddie. I'm not even going to include myself. I'm just going to put it on everybody else. But there are some guys who are really in these spaces that are incredibly talented, that love the university. That if you're showing them, like you're showing future athletes how you're going to help them provide and make more money by for them and their families by how you treat them. And I think Jordan Travis is a phenomenal face. we haven't really had much. Well, I mean, we got one that we probably should embrace more, but they still don't know how to deal with them. Jameis is a wild card. I love Jameis to death though. And Jameis is still playing, but TC in the last 20, I wouldn't even say 20 years, because 20 years includes me. No, like actually, yeah, from like basically from 07 on, the program has had a bright spot with Jimbo, and then had a bright spot with Mike, but you haven't really had a lot of guys that you want to just kind of bring back and embrace. But I think there are some things that that the boosters can do to use their brand to better leverage what we look like in the nation. I got a chance to I've seen him at two 707 tournaments on DJax. Dontavius Jackson, yeah, linebacker from out of Texas. He was there at the tournament this past weekend in Atlanta, and he's got 707 community. So regardless of what you feel about him as a player, he has access to young men in the Texas area. We need to be able to go and make sure that he's being visited, that he's being able to see, because he's influencing the next generation of potential Seminoles. And what happens is, if we can say, hey, if kids see my coach is being treated in such a manner, it just kind of makes you want to be a part of that, because you are having to look at, and I don't know if everybody looks at it, but more of them need to do, what does this decision look for me post-career? And I do believe that this Jordan Travis thing is one situation that people can take and say, hey, what does this look like post-NFL career?
We have some Seminoles who are undrafted free agents. We have 3 as of late. So Jerry Wilson to the Los Angeles Chargers. Then we have Jacob Rizzi to the Patriots. Last but not least, we do have Squirrel White to the Chicago Bears. These are the current former Florida State Seminoles who are now undrafted free agents, courtesy of Knowles 247's Twitter account. So, James, these 3 Knowles are officially undrafted free agents.
That's awesome, man. Good for them. I hope they make this. I hope they make the squad.
Shout out to the Seminoles out there. And James, before we get into more of the draft news, let's finish up this college segment right quick. Wanted to share this with you guys, for all of my HBCU football fans out there, because it looks like, according to Yahoo Sports, commissioners from the 4 HBCU conferences, SWAC, MEAC, CIAA, and CIAC, have formally agreed to launch the Black College Football Poll and All-American teams beginning in 2026. We're going to come back to the topic of HBCU football when we talk about the draft as well. But James, it looks like you're going to be seeing some HBCU All-Americans coming up. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. Glad they're adding that.
I think it's amazing. I think they should have been doing this. I've been talking about this. I think regardless of what people think, there are all kinds of different, it's not divisions or separations. It's just acknowledgments, and people like to be acknowledged. And HBCU ball has a different brand. I love it. I love the pageantry. I love everything about it. I think anybody who's listening to this that is not African American, I think you should, or actually regardless, I think you should adopt the HBCU. Meaning, like, find a team that you like that's in your area. Like if you're in Tallahassee area or in Florida, like you should be able, there's a couple of them. There's, obviously FAMU and Bethune are the 2 that are the most recognized, but you have Florida Memorial, you have Edward Waters. I believe I didn't miss any of them in Florida, but you have Savannah State up the street. You have Albany State. That's not far. You got teams that, like, if you want to go get some good food and good music, and it be honest with you, dude, if you just embrace the culture, they're gonna be fine. Like, ain't nobody gonna bother you. Not at that stuff. But like, I think they need to take it a step further though. I think they need to do a better job of broadcasting the games. I think they need to not just being excited about having it on. So you can watch almost all. ESPN has the if you have ESPN3 or ESPN online streams all of these games, but you have to have the ESPN app. And I believe they probably give them a little bit of money. Here's my belief. If somebody were to take the games and put them on I'll put them on my network. I would love to stream EWU games. You allow somebody to stream those, and it's going to bring you more recognition. And especially if you have somebody who understands how to talk about homecoming, what it's like to do some of these different things. You've got people like they use it. ESPN uses it as a training ground for their kind of up and coming color commentators and play by plays, and they have absolutely no reason what's going on. Or like one of the schools I remember watching Prairie View A&M, not Prairie View, Mississippi Valley State. It was just one of the worst broadcasts I've ever heard. It was like two old black men on a porch watching the game, just talking about something. But you've got to find ways to be able to make your product more satiable, more attractive, and palatable to a broader audience. And one of the things that HBCUs has, like, I hate it. Growing up on an HBCU campus, listening to people who went to HBCUs, that's an HBCU thing. You wouldn't understand it. Like it is such a pretentious attitude by some, not all, by some, for programs and schools that are underfunded and that need things. HBCUs need outside influence to be able to come in and inject outside dollars into the communities, into the programs. So I think, sometimes the brand of ball is not quite the same. Actually, it's not even close to the same as Power 4 because they don't have the resources to recruit. But the schools like FAMU, what Quinn is going to be able to do and what Willie did at FAM is important. With all due respect, what Dion was able to do at Jackson State was important. What some of these guys are going to be able to do is really, really important. They just need to continue support from the communities in which they are around and represent.
From HBCU to the PWIs, Kaylin DeBoer is receiving a 7-year extension with a $12.5 million salary. The school announced. Jay Billis tweeted this, James, and gave his 2 cents on the landscape of NIL, especially organizations, because colleges are willing to pay their coaches $12.5 million in an annual salary with their buyout clauses, and coaches can just, have a lot of leeway, and they expect the players to do things the adults wouldn't do. But $12.5 million salary, James, that is something.
Yeah, but it's the kids though.
Right.
Like at a certain point, man, you cannot tell people from kindergarten through their senior year in high school what makes America great and what makes America exceptional is capitalism. And then at the same time, tell them that capitalism is what's ruining the sport. Everybody gets to participate in the capitalism and we applaud it because we'll say, oh, well, they're the adults. They've got this. That man is going to make $12.5 million if Alabama decides to fire him next year, regardless. That is not how capitalism actually works. Capitalism actually, just like the Spirit Airlines thing, one of the Mr. Wonderful, whatever his name is from Shark Tank, brought up a good point. Like, why are we bailing out? Capitalism is about letting people fail and then letting the ecosystem take it over and then somebody rising from that. It's perfect. It's just like like when a whale dies, everybody gets fed. Fish get fed, like the little, like people break it down, and then somebody, it's the circle of life. Except for college, everything works like that except for college football. And we want guys to work for free, and we say that me paying this kid, even if you want to say paying this one player $2 million a year is it's not feasible. It's not sustainable. But paying a guy $12.5 million is. And before that, Saban, again, I'm not saying he shouldn't get as much money as he wants. But he ain't even Saban, dog. They paid, before Saban got his house paid for, while they bought him a new house, they gave him money. It baffles me. And that's not even just him. It's his entire staff. $12.5 million without a chip. And $12.5 million to a team that lost to Florida State. I just want to reiterate that. $12.5 million for a guy. People are trying to say, like, what's the dude, the cuck for ESPN that was decent college player, but didn't do anything in the NFL. I don't want to knock him. He's pretty good. He's not bad, but the analyst that said Ty Simpson is better than the corny boy from Indiana, Fernando. We saw him play against Fernando Mendoza. And what we noticed was a Chrysler 300 looked like a Phantom until a Phantom showed up. That was him. He was coached by that offensive guru, shut down by the guy that probably Alabama fans wish they had, because he's more like Saban than anything. Yeah, Dan Orlovsky. I don't care that he's getting paid that. What I care is that every time we see this, we see praise. But anytime we see, and most of the numbers are grossly overrated, excuse me, and exaggerated. But anytime we see a kid get paid, not even the taxes for what this man is going to make on this money. He's getting $12.5 million everywhere he goes. He wears the University of Alabama gear. He's getting paid $12.5 million, and he has a car deal, more than likely, so he does not drive his own car, probably with a fleet car, does not pay his own gas, has an expense account. So every time he goes out and every time he recruits, he pays everything on the Alabama expense account. He eats at the university. He's essentially getting paid, just straight pocketing the money. But we have no problem with that. But we have a problem with the guys who allow him to get paid $12.5 million to get paid that. Make it make sense. And the problem is most of y'all, that don't even affect your bread when any of these guys get paid.
We got a quick story to dive into before we get into the draft, and this is a crazy one from HBCU Game Day. Their post went viral. Shout out to them. But Delaware State and Deshaun Jackson are named in a lawsuit alleging a player suffered catastrophic injuries in a locker room assault, and that team leaders failed to properly supervise or discipline those involved. So this suit happened, this assault happened in November 2025, the alleged locker room assault. And Deshaun Jackson was named also by former player Malachi Biggs. So this complaint also names assistant coach Travis Clark, director of football operations Jane Hicks, and player Anthony Hebert as defendants. Biggs says Hebert choked another player over an Instagram post, then put Biggs in a chokehold after confronting him about the same post. The lawsuit alleges Biggs tried to tap out, lost consciousness, and was dropped to the floor, causing major injuries. Reported injuries include multiple jaw fractures, a deep chin cut, damage to at least a dozen teeth, a severed ligament under the tongue, and a metal plate placed in his chin. Biggs says he was taken by ambulance to Kent General Hospital and remained out of school while continuing treatment into April 2026. The suit claims Delaware State and Jackson failed to supervise the program properly, failed to discipline Hebert, and allowed a violent team culture to develop. It also alleges gang-related language, bullying, hazing, and horseplay were tolerated within the football program. The complaint includes 10 counts, including negligence, battery, and emotional distress claims, and Biggs is seeking compensatory, punitive, and punitive damages.
So first off, did anybody get arrested for this shit?
Looks like nobody was arrested as of yet.
And he said it was the coach or the player. I'm trying to remember. I missed that part.
The player was the one who put him in the headlock.
Okay, so this is locker room shenanigans. Typically, the locker room polices itself. You can't be everywhere, but there does need to be discipline type things that happen where you can't just like, God damn, either like shit. Like he got his ass whooped, it sounds like. And it sounds like that should have been again, the guy should have been kicked off the team or heavily disciplined to where the person who's the victim feels good. But you probably should have pressed charges, my man.
Yeah.
I don't like when people say gang language in environment because here's the thing. Most of us come from a lot of football players come from the hood. We talk in a manner. It's like it's a language. Like if you listen to rap, actually forget it. You listen to rap music, you're gonna probably have some slang like slime, all this other stuff. Now, what it doesn't look right and what it seems like this attorney is doing, and this isn't fair to Deshaun, but that's why I tell my sons, this is why I tell people, like for me, like I own up to everything I look at. If I ever get popped for something, they're gonna go find the shit that I posted. Like what was the shit that I what's the thing? Oh, when I said, like I was just talking about, I was like, well, I hope your wife knows she's a lesbian because she's fucking a bitch. They're gonna find that. They're gonna use that against me. I got stuff that they're gonna use against me. I seen it in the NFL Combine. They used my godbrother against me. I went on 2 mission trips. And it was just like, you know, your godbrother, we see here that he sells crack, sells drugs. Did you know this? I said, brother, I don't know what the fuck they do. I play football. I was like, my neighborhood, crack was all through my neighborhood when I was growing up. Coke, crack, I didn't realize it then, but pills, weed, all that stuff, whatever you needed was in there. We fought. I've got friends that were in the gang life. But like, you know, I hung out with those things. People, you could, maybe I was, you know, like, what's the dude? Kendrick Lamar, what ain't a blood, but he's considered affiliated or some shit like that. Maybe that was me. But I know this DY, like, so Deshaun got to like chill out. But like, if he's you know, he came from a neighborhood and he's talked about that. I remember Chip Kelly tried to get him cut. Well, got him cut because of that shit. So he's got to separate that though, in the long run, so that if he's going to continue to progress and be well, because he's done a lot for Delaware State. But this right here, it seems like that kid deserves every penny that he's gonna get. You locker room fights happen, but god damn, that was some angst. Like, you know, somebody, and then I'm not the kid deserves to get paid regardless, but like maybe he deserved, maybe his teammates felt like, man, hey, yeah, you had that shit coming, dog. The reason why I say that is because typically they're not gonna let you die. Like they're not gonna let you just get beat the fuck up. Like that's where you got to go to the hospital. Because now we lost a player. And I used to joke and say, like, this guy right here is so good. This guy's like, he can talk a lot of shit because ain't nobody gonna let him get his ass whipped because he's good. But like, but yeah, man. But gang culture, like gang language, man. A lot of again, this is what I got to say. This is what I have to say about gang culture and gang language. A guy who, when I met him, I was incredibly disappointed because he looked very soft and squishy, but he made a great point, and that's Fat Joe. I believe it was in his poem "Lean Back," where he prosed. Maybe it wasn't "Lean Back." I don't know which one it was, but say, these dudes that made gang signs commercial. Even Lil Bow Wow throwing it up. B2K Crip walking like that's what's up. I see kids say stuff all the time. And I know them kids. Like my son got, I don't know if I told everybody, my son got like his teacher kind of tried to pop him. Because they asked him to make a post. He was reading Alice in Wonderland. And they said, create a character from Alice in Wonderland's IG account. And hold on, let me see if I can find it. Shit, to me, I thought it was hilarious. And I actually thought it was creative. I thought it was on par with what, what Trey, what they asked for. Yeah, hold on. Damn, I ain't gonna find this shit. That's so far back. But Trey made the Alice in Wonderland I thought the graphic was kind of cool. He like made stuff. It looked like her. He had a little Alice, like, acting like she like had on like some like a bandana or whatever. Had a couple pictures with some captions and put like fake followers and following and all that other stuff. And he was like, what was it? Wonderland Gang. Alice with the Draco for life for some shit like that. She was just saying he was saying all of these different things. I laugh because I'm like, you know what? I follow some of these silly ass motherfuckers, 12-year-olds. I'm with them every weekend. You know what? They not fucking gang members. They may think they tough, but they're damn sure not no gang members. I told them that last weekend. I'm like, the problem with y'all motherfuckers is y'all think y'all tough and can't none of y'all fight. And none of y'all are super mutants. So like y'all want to be older, but you got to slow down to be a child while you a child. Now me, I've been the same height since I was fucking 12.
They're going to reach adulthood having never done it. Like having maybe 3 fights in their
Right,
life.
which is great. I had 3 fights my first day of kindergarten.
Right.
I was in a fucking fight club in my neighborhood. You had to fight in my neighborhood to live. Like I was like the little colored boy here doing. I just want to live. God protect. I'm just saying, like they don't know any of this shit. Now there are kids who are like that here in Jacksonville. Sure. We know them motherfuckers. Like I see them. Like, hey, no. I grab my son by the head. Boom, bring your ass here. That little motherfucker is the devil. Like, but it still needs some guidance. But like, it's like, man, like I said, gang language, man. I don't know, man. Like the kids playing football, they throw the gun, like they boom, boom, boom. People make like the young man from LSU, unfortunately, who passed in the car accident. And I was the only one defending him. Like not from the car accident. I thought he might have did it wrong with the information, but like when he did the first down celebration and he was like that, I'm like, hell yeah, load that thing, pull that thing, load up and squeeze. I'm gonna shoot for my dog. I don't know about you. Little Duval ain't no thug, and he made a whole song about slide with me, just slide with me. Oh, Trey put slide on our ops on it.
I mean, I can understand the teacher reason.
But what I'm saying is, dog, just don't punish him for the Trey. Do this shit over. Yeah. That's all you got to do. Like, yo, silly ass. Do this. If she would have told me, I'd have been, dumbass, do this shit over again. But I'm like, it's my son. I was like, all right, I'm around him a lot. Is there something you're telling me? Like, is my son in a gang or something? Is there a gang? The motherfucker ain't never, like, y'all have sent me, like, he ain't skipping school. He ain't doing no dumb shit. Like, is he? I was like, I don't know. I was like, and I was at a test, like, ma'am, I come from that culture. Like, cause I need to know so we can, like, cause that ain't us. I'm the one who said, like, I'm from the, like, y'all saw the shit that he posted. I posted from him in his group chat when he went viral. Made it out the suburbs. My son loves being from the suburbs. So, like, again, gang culture is nowhere near what it used to be. And that's the problem. I blame gangs because that gang, we've gotten soft as America because gangs started they wanted to get the bread. The only gang member that's like that, unfortunately, got arrested dead, who had some sort of gang integrity was Nipsey Hussle. They tried to, Nipsey had to deal with Puma and they showed him a concept, and I don't know what the wording was, but it was something that was Crip that only Crips can say or whatever, and he was like, nah, I can't do that because I don't own that saying. That saying was before me. He's like, nah, man, like that ain't for everybody. The gang, you know who got the most, who's really gang like that is them damn educated gangs. Try throwing up them hooks around the goddamn Omega if you want to. Man, them Kappas got so goddamn sassy on Boosie when he wore that gear. Like, you know, just like I said, anyways, man, them cats be like, again, this gang, I don't want to hear that shit. Gang and stuff. Like, man, get the fuck out of here. Nah, you got your ass whooped. And you shouldn't have got your ass whooped. I'm with that. But all right. I think you might be muted, Jaden. No. Like Casby. For anti, like, yeah, man. I know, and the crazy thing about all the educated gangs, I know all of their shit. I know more about some of their damn, because I grew up in it. My mom I grew up on an HBCU campus. My mom pledged Beta Alpha at FAMU. My mom and my godmothers pledged when hazing was like in its prime. Like they made movies like school. If you want to go know what it was, School Days. Like it was hate. Like FAMU hazed everything. The band, you want to be in the band? Hazed. Like my goddad, he was dead. My boy Dre, his dad was in the band, and he was an alpha. It was something else. It's like he got hazed 3 different times. So he is a glutton for punishment. But like, you also understand that some of it is discipline, some of it is learning culture and all these different things. And like, you know, like some of the stuff is cool, but like, you know, like I told somebody when I hear somebody like friendship is essential to the soul, but I ain't finna go no deeper than that because I ain't do that shit. I know the difference between a Kappa and a Noop. That ain't in my place though. I ain't a Kappa. I ain't no goddamn Noop. I know, you know, I ain't know. Actually, the only thing I didn't know, I ain't know what an iota was until I got to college. I got some people. I'm still not 100% sure exactly what an iota is, but you know, it's just like when I was in care program, they did a step show and they were like the Omegas did one and they was doing this and they was talking about all the different things and they was just like, you know, they was just hang up the phone, an iota. Like, who is this? An iota? Hang up the phone, hang up the phone, hang up the phone, hang up the phone. What is an iota? Like, I ain't got one iota of patience for this. And I was like, damn, they are roasting these guys. They're here, guys. But they always won the step shows, though. They always won the step shows. They really was getting active, man. But they were like a small gang, but they wanted to make sure everybody knew they was there. All right, you back, Jaden?
Sorry about that. We are gonna discuss the Jaguars draft picks before getting to the NFL draft. Let's take a quick look at who the Jags selected in this draft, James. So this caused a lot of controversy. The Jaguars, with their first pick in the 2026 NFL draft, selected the tight end from Texas A&M with the 56th pick. We did not have a first round pick because we gave it to the Browns in exchange for Travis Hunter last season or last draft, excuse me. But James, the pick 56 was not overrated or was not utilized as he should have been in Texas A&M, but a great great blocker, and has one of the fastest, if not the fastest, 40 times for tight ends. And I saw you kind of give a little breakdown on the news about the surprise pick by the Jags, but give the fans, give the viewers a little bit more insight into the pick made by Gladstone and company to kick off this draft.
Gladstone didn't pick up Britton Strange. He was a part of the last administration, but Britton Strange has been a pretty good. They did re-sign him, if I remember correctly. He is a pretty damn good tight end. Was not really overly utilized at Penn State. Was picked in the second round, what people thought was a reach. Had a third round grade, much like this young man from Texas A&M. Now, I was not aware of his 40, but sometimes when guys get into situations, they're like, okay, I feel like we could get this guy and he matches what we do. And to be honest with you, all things being considered, the only difference in all of these guys in those on picks 56 to 88 is about the signing bonus. They're all going to make relatively the same amount of money per salary cap, so it's not going to really truly affect you. I do think it was a reach. I think he only had like 198 yards receiving. He is a good blocker, and for what Leon Cohen wants to do, we want to make sure we establish the run game and make sure we have multiple tight ends. If you remember, we sent a lot of tight ends to the infirmary last year. So we want to make sure we have fresh bodies to be able to send out there and sacrifice in order for the Jags to be able to win. I believe it was 13 games again. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I also know that he doesn't give a fuck about picks. The whole theme of this draft is depth over desperation. You feel like you have the nucleus to be able to get back to where you're at or consistently be a contender for the AFC South, if not win it year in and year out. What you need now is to make sure you got the bodies to be able to expand and grow. Now, I refuse to learn how to say his fucking last name until he makes some catches and things that make me learn his fucking last name. In fact, I don't know how to say most of these guys' name. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 last names that I'm going to fuck up. I know I'm going to fuck them up. I'm proud of it. But, the only one that I'm probably not and that was of quality is Albert Regis. And he was a transfer to Texas A&M, but he was an AP All-American before he transferred to A&M to go get the bag. He's AP All-American first team. He was all Big Ten. He was on that Michigan squad that won the Natty. So he is I make sure I'm saying that right. I believe this one. Yeah. So he's not that and pregnant isn't a bad guard. Wesley Williams was one of Duke's better players. Like, I don't really think you found a starter in this draft, but you do have some guys that you can keep on your roster, develop, and could see second contracts. I would be reaching if I were to tell you that these guys are just like that. But I do believe that there were other players or other things that were probably more that were more pressing. Like, I would have loved to have seen them get another DB. I would have loved to have seen them get another linebacker, but I do know they made a run on linebackers late in the first round that we would have probably have loved to have seen fall to the Jacksonville Jaguars at that moment. But you gotta is when you return a lot. I mean, the two most critical pieces that you lost were Etienne and Lloyd, but you like what you had at running back in the last draft, and then you brought in a running back that you were familiar with in Rodriguez, that you were familiar with at Kentucky with if being Leon Cohen. His best year rushing was with Leon Cohen, but I'm not gonna pretend to say this draft is just full of guys I'm gonna buy my jersey for something. And the only thing I don't like, I'll say this, is that regardless of how we feel about the situation, Nate Borkature, I believe I said it right, is your first overall pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Is that now they went for winning, but from a marketing and PR standpoint, leaves a little bit to be desired, just a little bit. Just like, hey, like, I gotta tell people to be, hey, remember that catch that Nick made? That's a good looking one though in that picture, but I don't know if that was for a touch. I don't know if that was for a touchdown. I don't know if that's for a first down. That could have been a 2-yard catch. I don't know what that was, but it looks cool.
These are the list of undrafted free agents by the Jaguars. The Jaguars have agreed to terms with 18 UDFAs, starting with Joey Aguilar, the Tennessee quarterback. And then it goes from TJ Bowlers, Brady Boyd, Bullock, Connor. Then you got the UCLA offensive lineman, Quindarius Dunnigan, Preston Hodge, Jalen Hunt, Devon Marshall, Devin Neal, and some other players as well. We do have 2 Brian Thomas Juniors, James, now on the roster with the new defensive end from South Carolina. So, yes, we have 2 Brian Thomas Juniors on the Jaguar squad. Now, these are your list of undrafted free agents the Jaguars picked up.
Good for them.
Now let's get into the draft. We are going to go through the draft with you guys on some of the more memorable picks, but we're going to start off with round 1 first off, since this is the most important round of the draft. Let's get into the picks. So, number 1 Heisman winner, Fernando Mendoza. No surprise. Number 2, now a lot of people had David Bailey going here, Oliver Reese with the second pick, but David Bailey, the Texas Tech edge, did go number 2. Jeremiah Love did go number 3, and he reset the running back market. We'll get into what that means in a second. But then to round out your draft, you have Carnell Tate going to Tennessee, Arvell Reese going to the Giants, and then the Kansas City Chiefs traded up to get LSU cornerback Mansour Delane, Sonny Styles of Commanders, Jordan Tyson to the Saints, Spencer Fano to the Browns, Francis, the Miami tackle to the Giants, Caleb Downs to the Cowboys. They traded up, I believe, to get him, Caden Proctor to the Dolphins, and the biggest shocker of the first round, Ty Simpson going 13 to the LA Rams. Going to have some insight on that as well. 14, you got the Penn State guard, I believe. 15, Ruben Baines stays in Florida, just has to go from Miami to Tampa Bay. Shout out to him. Kenyon Sadiq going to the Jets. Blake Miller, Caleb Banks going to the Vikings. Monroe Freeling, Mekhi Lemon joining the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. The Steelers picking up an offensive tackle. Akeem Mesidor, former Miami player, going to the Chargers. Malachi Lawrence to the Cowboys. Casey Concepcion to the Browns. Shador got a weapon. Dylan Thieneman, the Oregon safety. Kalen Rutledge to the Houston Texans. Chris Johnson, the San Diego State cornerback, to the Dolphins. Caleb Lumu, he was at Utah along with Fano. He's going to the Patriots, help out with Drake May. Peter Woods going to the Chiefs. He was a Clemson star. Omar Cooper Jr. was on the Indiana squad going to the Jets. Keldrick Falk. And then to round out your round 1 draft, the Notre Dame running back, Jadarian Price, filling in for Kenneth Walker at the Seattle Seahawks. I think that was a very good pick. But James, round 1 right here, we're going to talk about this more than any of the other rounds. But overall, how would you rate this first round? Was it a surprise to you? Was it pretty thought out, pretty anticipated? You could guess these picks, or do you think this was a complete 180 from what you anticipated?
Not a 180. Always, it's no different than a lot of drafts. A lot of these names you're not going to remember. But there were some guys that I thought Terrell, I thought some of the DBs would have gone a little earlier. But they didn't. But that's just was what my thinking would have been. 2 running backs from the same school being drafted in the first round is insane. But Jadarian Price was a name that was rising up the charts really, really well as a guy who some said, if at another school would have been a starting running back over outside of Jeremiah. A lot of people were hoping that he fell to the Jags, but they would have been like, that would have been a really value pick at that point. But so that's and he's going to a system which maybe benefits Seattle just as much as it benefits him, because he is very reminiscent of what they just lost. The biggest thing is, is the Dolphins had an opportunity to be able to get multiple guys that would have probably helped them right away, or been home run gets, like letting Ruben Bain pass by you, like that would have been a great get, regardless of how you feel about his T-Rex arms.
And they got a new GM and coach. So
yeah. So, but I'm just saying, like the fan base would have been motivated for at least a little bit, because you would have got one of the more popular players off of the hometown team, and he's a hometown kid. And there's a lot of stuff that you could do with a Ruben Bain type guy. He is an amazing competitor, but I think for Ruben Bain, he probably got put in a better situation. So, like being with the Buccaneers, better organization. The NFC South is mid. It's been mid for a while. You have a better overall team that you got drafted to. Better ingredients, better pizza, better toppings, like all that shit. Like it's Papa John's compared to a Little Caesars hot and ready that's been in the stove, been in that thing for about 30 minutes. So like you got what you needed to get. The Raiders lost. There's no world right now where I'm excited about Mendoza. Now what shocked me was what Arizona did. Arizona, which is fine. I think you got the running back, and I think you actually got your quarterback for the future. But drafting a running back when you don't have your quarterback situation solved is wild. But I look at them, probably they're not in a win now situation. They're in a let's try to figure out what we can do so that we can make sure we get one of these beautiful wide receivers that's lined up in the next year's draft, and then we can flourish and be ready to really get active in year 2 or 3 of the rebuild. Giants didn't do bad. And I do. But the other thing too was Pittsburgh trying to get Lemon, and then he's on the phone with them, and then Philly calls him and drafts him right up under there. But that also lets us know that they're probably about to, if they're not going to move on immediately to try to trade and get some really good capital for him, for a team that might be desperate for another wide receiver, they're definitely going to let him walk. And AJ Brown. So that right there let AJ Brown know that he's on notice.
So, James, we got some draft info from this first round I want to share with you before we get into rounds 2 through 7, just breezing through those. We do have some good facts about the first round, including the first round draft picks by conference. So we got it right here on the screen. The Big Ten led the way with 10, SEC with 7, ACC with 6, and the Big 12 with 6 as well. Keep on moving on with some more info. Carnell Tate, man, he added to Ohio State's wide receiver U legacy because he is the 5th straight Ohio State wide receiver going in the first round, going from Chris Olave all the way to Carnell Tate. You see the list of wide receivers on that list. JSN, the offensive player of the year, right smack dab in the middle, but wide receiver U definitely for sure. Shout out to Ohio State, and it looks like they're gonna get 6 James next year as well, with Jeremiah Smith coming out in the draft. So they're continuing to do their thing. But man, is Ohio State wide receiver U officially, James, with this statistic right here, man? I mean, it's hard to beat.
It's hard to argue with it. They were DBU a few years ago, and then it shifted to this. people can say, is it they recruit well? Is it the development? Who knows? But we just know what's happening in real time. So kudos to them, um, and those young men for being produced, because they definitely produced that Ninjigba. And we know they're going to have probably the number one overall pick next year. So it's going to be 6 years in a row. It's like it's hard to argue those facts. Shit, and they got another, man. They got some cats, man. Like they line it up. They line it up and putting it down. So I can't. You cannot hate on that. Like I love one thing. I love one thing. I'm not is a fucking hater. I might not like you, but if you actually are doing something that's well, I'm not gonna deny you. Because that's the only prayer I say every night is that if I go to bed hating another man, please don't let me wake up in the morning. That means I am actually no longer a man. That ain't for me. Jealousy is a weak emotion. But you got to look at what they're doing and say, like, hey, man, that's some big stuff, man.
So Jeremiah Love did.
Oh, my bad. That was the crazy part. Like, they drafted a dude with 1 foot. Minnesota. Like, Minnesota hates themselves.
Yes.
My bad. I forgot all about that. Minnesota drafted a quarterback that can't quarter. And then they go and draft a D tackle with 1 fucking foot right now. Man, God bless them. They that's a stimulus package. I can't hate on a young black man getting reparations and not having to work for it. So kudos to him.
Jeremiah Love did something to the running back market that we will never forget. So Jeremiah Love is now the league's highest paid running back. He hasn't even taken a single snap. Love was drafted number 3 overall in the 2026 NFL draft, and obviously he got that all guaranteed. So he made the most guaranteed money by a running back ever, and he never even stepped on a field yet. So shout out to him.
Funny. Beautiful thing about the new salary cap, and this is what I want everybody to realize, that the rookies did not have any say in the slotting system. This is what the old heads did to prevent other players getting paid more money. It was old people getting jealous of the young dudes, and then now it's going to end up biting them in the ass regardless, like across the board. So, but remember, quarterbacks were getting drafted high, getting paid outrageous sums of money. Well, now you got this young man got picked up here, and like he's making over. What did that come out to? It's 4 divided by 50, so that's about, he's making close to 11 a year, maybe 10, like 10.5 a year on average. And then what's going to be crazy is his 5th year option is going to be so high that he may not even want to get paid. But I think what you're about to see is a transition in the NFL anyway, to running backs being drafted again in the first round. Because you're going to see the quarterback, which has always been viewed as the most important position, start to get devalued, because it's just not the quarterback play is just not great across the board at damn near any level. It's unfortunate. It's really it's really bad, because they're forcing young men to play so early and they're not watching enough football.
This was one of the only logical explanations we could find on X about the LA Rams selecting Ty Simpson. If you saw the video circulating online with their head coach, he definitely looked like he did not choose or have a say so in selecting Ty Simpson with their first round pick. But Albert Breer said Rams GM Les Snead and UT Martin coach Jason Simpson have a very strong relationship, to the point where Snead helped advise the family when Jason's son, Ty Simpson, was making a decision on whether or not to declare for the draft. Now Ty Simpson is a Ram, James. Wow.
Yeah, that's again, they have the guy that they want, but this is like this might end up working better in the long run. Well, working adequately. We've seen it work in Green Bay adequately, like, but not like championship expectations. But with Sean McVay, he wants he wants his guy, and he wants to be able to win. And I think them just picking up a guy like him, I don't think he feels like he has what's necessary, especially when it's in the first round. You're going to be paying him really. I mean, you're going to have to make a move in 2 years, and then then you're going to have to force it to see in those next 2 years, is he worth investing in getting that 5th-year option? So there's a lot of development and a lot of expectations that have to be put on a player that you're not going to get a lot of reps out of, because you can't, because he's not going to be a starter. Like, you don't draft a quarterback in the first round, that high in the first round, unless you have intentions of playing him early and often. Now, if this would have been like in the 32nd pick, then okay, I'm with it. But like right now, that's wild.
Coach Sean McVay said in the press conference as well that he will be competing with Stetson James. And yes, that same Stetson that did play at Georgia. So he'll be competing with the 35-year-old mechanic for sure. So for that QB2 spot. So man. But we got some great news. Shout out to the Tyson brothers, James. Shout out to Jordan Tyson getting selected by the Saints, because the Tyson brothers make history. I don't know if you know, but Jordan Tyson has a brother who plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And so with Jordan getting selected, Jordan and Jalen become the first brothers to be drafted in the first round and actively play in the NBA and NFL. So shout out to their parents for sure. They were watching the Cavs game while Jordan was getting drafted. So they had the iPad propped up watching one son play while the other one got his name called. So it was
I didn't watch it, but I'm assuming just looking at them, the product got cut once, right?
Yes, their mother. Yeah, you guessed correctly.
Can't
But
cut
yes,
the product no more per Mr. Brown.
shout out to the Tyson brothers for sure. So congratulations, man. Always have this fact you can pull out anytime, man. Crazy. Shout out to you
And
guys.
my bad, I should have known. With it wasn't Jay, but with the Jalen, that kind of that led. But the Jordan, that the way they spell it, like that lets me know a lot too. But now, kudos to them. That's an amazing accomplishment, man. Like I'm happy for them.
Let's get into the other rounds of the NFL draft. We are gonna start with pick up back on rounds 2 through 3 right here, courtesy of the NFL's X account. Gonna share this with you all so we can see some of the notable players who got selected in this draft. So give me 1 second, you guys, pulling it right up. Okay, perfect. So with the selections in round 2, you had Dazon Stribling going to the San Francisco 49ers. This was a controversial pick to start off the second round, but we'll get into that as well. And then you had Traden Stukes. Heard a lot of good things about him. He is going to the Raiders as well. Denzel Boston going to the Browns. Jacob Rodriguez, the Buckets Award winner, is going to Miami. James Zion Young, could have had him at FSU, is now part of that Ravens flock. Shout out to him. Jeremy Bernard is a Steeler. Avion Terrell joining his brother in Atlanta. Shout out to them. D'Angelo Pons, James, and I don't know if you saw, but his draft comparison was actually his new head coach. So D'Angelo Pons is now part of the Aaron Glenn family, the New York Jets family. Eli Stowers, the Vanderbilt tight end, is going to join Jalen Hurts and company, our pick, number 56. Man, I was sad we passed up on Emmanuel McNeil Warren, James, that tall safety body from Toledo. Really wish we could have got him, or even Anthony Hill Jr. with the Tennessee. And then Jake Slaughter going to the Chargers as well. Some of the more notable names. Sorry if I missed some players, but just picking and choosing. And James, that composed your round 2 of the draft. But Jacob Rodriguez, 43, Emmanuel McNeil Warren. There were some guys somewhat near the Jaguars, James. We could have.
Rodriguez, Hill, and Trotter were 3 linebackers that I had talked about on First Coast news. I would have definitely loved to have Hill. Hill is very reminiscent to Devin Lloyd, which I thought would have been more of a need pick. But they maybe feel like they wanted to get a veteran in that spot. Shout out to Zion. Love that for that young man. And my boy Grimes, I know he was pumped about that. Trying to really think anybody else. So the really Hill, knowing that Hill was there, I wish we would have I wish we would have taken that. Damn. But in faith of the boy child, I'm just gonna have faith in our GM and Goldilocks. Damn. All right. I think you're mute. Oh, and D'Angelo Pons. That's a good pick for the Jets. Jets gonna have a good young secondary. Oh, Jaden just got bumped. Just got a good young secondary there. And we'll see if they can, stop somebody now. Like they score. They got to score points as well. So there's still a lot of the Jets look like the Jets are having a really good draft, considering just more so from name brand. They got just names that played some good football. They just have to go and win games. That's the most important thing. The biggest highlight they had was a kickoff return and a coach doing a good little dance, like a good little clip. But outside of that, when it came to playing football, definitely making the DEI noise as far as that. Making us look great. So Jaden's got round 3 up there.
Carson Beck, James.
The
Mandarin U alum is now joining Jeremiah Love all the way in the great city of Scottsdale, Phoenix area. But man, James, the first pick in the 3rd round, Carson Beck. Shout out to him. And you also got some other players, Sam Roush, Antonio Williams, Malachi Fields, Drew Allar, the Penn State QB, Zachariah Branch, Jacoby Lane, Albert Rodriguez, Chris Brazel, Then you got some other players such as our 88th pick, Emmanuel Pregnon. And then we also had Xavier Thomas, Jayshon Barham, Keegan Dross, Chris Bell, the Louisville wide receiver, Caleb Turnin, Jacoby Thomas, Julian Neal, and Jalen Husky to round out your 3rd round.
3rd round, only thing I can just talk about is shout out to Carson. I think Carson's in an incredible position. They'll have a veteran that they want. He'll be able to sit there. And one of the things that people don't realize that Carson does a great job of, Carson takes risk when he has to take risk, or when he's forced to. And obviously, if we go back to the national championship game, when we saw him have to throw, and a lot of that had to do with his elbow. His elbow was still injured a lot last year. But one thing he does, and if you listen to the sport, if you listen to me, especially when I do my NFL breakdowns, one of my favorite things is the shot. I wish they did it for losses as well. But when you look at I call it the shot chart, because that's what it's reminiscent of in basketball. You look at where the quarterbacks throw, and you'd be amazed at how much of the NFL passing game, which is again why 7-on-7 is important, is 0 to 5 yards, even 0 to 10, even less 0 to 10, but even less than that, throws over 20 yards. You're talking about they only take maybe 3 to 5 shots a game, almost across the board, the teams that win. And when you look at Carson's completions, everything was boom, 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 boom. Quick decisions, being able to get rid of the ball. If you're able to build things around him, you're going to see again into Denny's and 6 points and what's the name of the Cortex to their development. You look at Brock Purdy. Was it Mr. Irrelevant when he was drafted with the last pick into one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL and within a very short amount of time. So like you've got like you're setting this this could be set up to be a really, really good pickup for Arizona and a great situation for Carson. Sometimes longevity is just as important as playing. You can make the money back. But yeah, and then yeah, so I thoroughly enjoy the pick. And Scottsdale is dope. I like Arizona.
Arizona is nice. Shout out Arizona. James, a special round in round 4 because UC pick 103, the FSU's only draft pick this draft. Navy had more draft picks than FSU in the 2026 draft. But Daryl,
It's just like, everybody's like, we know there's 3 draft picks that got held back. We can all know. We all know that Dominic Robinson's baby boy is going to be a draft pick. So like that, if nothing else, that guy's getting drafted next year. So I just thought it was funny. Like he would have got drafted this year and probably would have fell into this probably second, third round.
Daryl Jackson Jr., the only FSU player to get drafted. He's going to the Jets. The Jets have a affinity for FSU players, James, Jermaine Johnson, Jordan Travis, list goes on. But Daryl is going to the New York Jets. How do you like that fit for Mr. Jackson?
I mean, he's got to give. He can play. He's a nose. He can be, or he's definitely a nose. And he's in the 4th round. He'll probably be he's going to be a second contract guy. He's going to work. He's going to learn. He's going to be able to, he's very difficult to move. So like he took double and triple teams. If you watch the film, that's why his stats were never like great. It's just, we didn't have linebackers that were roaming, that wanted to go make plays. We didn't have a lot of stuff. But that's the key. Hey, Ms.
Some other notable players in round 4 of this draft include Jonah Coleman, Washington running back, Jaden Kennedy, Cade Klubnik, the Clemson QB, as well. Elijah Surratt, he was on that Indiana squad. Keontae Scott was on that Miami squad. So he actually is joining his teammate Ruben Bain, James, Keontae Scott. So shout out to him, both staying in Florida. Jaguars pick Wesley Williams as well. And then you have some other players such as Bryce Lance, James, Trey Lance's brother, who is a wide receiver, or who was a wide receiver at North Dakota State University. Is around 6'3", 6'4" wide receiver. He got selected by the Saints. So Saints getting some wide receivers like they normally do. So that rounds out your 4th round. Let's continue moving on to finish this out, going through some of these names quickly. Round 5 right here. To start this list off, you have Kamari Ramsey, USC safety, getting picked up. Got Justin Jefferson, not wide receiver though, linebacker at pick 149 as well. Emmett Johnson, the Chiefs running back at 161. You got the Jags pick Tanner right there as well. Lorenzo Styles Jr., the brother of Sonny Styles, going at 172. He's a safety to the Saints as well. And we got a Coleman in this round, Kevin Coleman Jr., wide receiver, going to the Dolphins. So shout out to him. Now we're going to move on.
Jonah Coleman, also at 179.
Well.
A kid that Miles, you probably don't remember this name, but we interviewed. Florida State had a chance to get him. He ended up going to Syracuse and then transferring his last year at Kansas. Enrique Cruz. And I've got a chance to continue to communicate with his stepfather. He's got a little brother that's a massive individual as well. It's like I think he was in 9th or 10th grade this year. But Enrique Cruz from out of the Midwest, I think it was Illinois, but played at Syracuse and then transferred to Kansas his last year. Kudos to him. Being able to get drafted. Good family. Just one of the families we were talking to during COVID when we were doing our interviews when the world was shut down. Somebody else that Mike could have had.
Yes, the Browns decided to pull the trigger on Arkansas quarterback Taylor Green in round 6 with the 182nd pick. They kicked off round 6, and the Jaguars picked up Josh Cameron, wide receiver, with pick 191. Malik Benson, James, got picked up by the Raiders with pick 195, former FSU wide receiver with that pick. CJ Williams and 203. Then to finish off the round 6, you have Trey Smack, the kicker from Florida, who went at 216, and one above him, Harold Perkins Jr., a name that would have had garnered a lot more attention 2 seasons ago, I believe. And man, he is in round 6. But
Hype can't get you in there. You got to eventually produce. But I think if he gets in the right, if they use him properly, he could be a good NFL player. He's got all the skill. He's got everything that you want. It's his injury in between the head, in between the ears. That's his issue.
Round 7, where steals are made and are defined. We have Mr. Irrelevant finishing this off with Red Murdoch with pick 257. But let's go back up top to Jaden Williams, who started this off, Anthony Smith, as well to the Cowboys as well. Then moving on through this list, you have Eli Heidenreich, who is the Navy player. He's a running back, not a running black. He's white. He's an exciting white. He is a running back and wide receiver. He had a lot of touchdowns at his time at Navy last season. Tim Keenan III, who was on Alabama's squad as well, getting selected by the Rams. Jaguars pick 240, Parker Hughes. And to round this off, you have Garrett Nussmeier at 249 in the 7th round, taken by the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this was a name many people were surprised fell to this low, along with Perkins from the last round. But Nussmeier, James, Chiefs decided to take the chance, pull the trigger on that QB. They have Justin Fields as well, filling in for Patrick Mahomes. Now they have Justin Fields and Garrett Nussmeier as some of the QBs on there.
Guy put out a tweet, what happened to Harold Perkins and Garrett Nussmeier, and I'm like, film. Like, that's what happened. Like, nothing crazy. It's just sometimes Harold Perkins, I think, is just the athleticism and the hype coming out of high school. Or just like, he's incredible, but I've watched him twice against Florida State, and it just never was there. And Garrett Nussmeier, we've watched him lose games for LSU. So, like, just the hype surrounding the SEC is just has to be studied at some point, because they have guys that do well, but like when you have hundreds of people drafted every year, like to have 2 or 3 like shine is not out of the realm of question, but their level of football is, especially at quarterback, is not great. It's not.
And let's take a look at number 251, James Uar Bernard, the defensive tackle. If you remember, surprised scouts at the HBCU showcase, if you will, with his low percent body fat and the fact that he never played a down of football, but he ended up getting selected by the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's not the first time the Eagles selected somebody who didn't have college football experience. Jordan Mailata as well, James, never played a down of college football. So they decided to take a chance. And this is Mr. Bernard right here. He is the first African
That's the
internet.
rugby guy.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he played rugby. I'm not too sure, but I know Jordan Mailata played rugby. But Uwar Bernard is the first African International Pathway Program player to be drafted. Yes, he had like 6% body fat, 6'4", 300 something pounds. Crazy measurables, but definitely measurables are on his side. But shout out to him, first African International Pathway Program player to be drafted.
If it works, the 7th round, just for people who need to know, everything after the 4th round is really, and some rosters the 3rd is really just you're almost in a better position to be an undrafted rookie free agent because you get to pick where you're going to be at. It's all about how much guaranteed money they give you, and if they're going to keep you. But like, if he works in a year or two, great. If he doesn't, it doesn't cost them anything to cut him. His contract's not going to be fully guaranteed. So, there somebody can look like a genius, and that's where you get those are the rounds where you get to gamble a little bit. So it's you wish that it was more for the guys who've actually played the game, but that's how the game go. It's been like that since well before. It's been like that since well before any of us on this broadcast were alive. So you got to play the game how I go.
These were the most picks by each school in the 2026 NFL Draft. Ohio State led the way with 11. We talked a lot of trash about Kalen DeBoer, James, but 10 guys got drafted from Bama, Texas, and
Saban's guys.
Saban. Oh, okay.
So they're coming up though. Like his time is coming up. They're gonna always be a powerhouse. They're gonna always be able to get proper guys.
Texas A&M with 10, Clemson with 9, Miami with 9, Texas Tech with 9, Georgia, Indiana, Penn State with 8, Florida, Iowa, LSU, Oklahoma, Oregon, and Washington with 7, Michigan, Missouri, Notre Dame, Texas with 6, Auburn, and Tennessee with 5 to round out that list for you guys. And then got some more stats as well. There were 257 NFL draft picks. Here's a breakdown by each classification: P4 to 39. So your Power 4 conferences are Big 10, Big 12, SDC, ACC, G6. This includes Mountain West, for example, American, FCS, and non-affiliated. It's yet another example, according to Chris Hummer, of the talent drain for the G6 and FCS. But that's how it always has been, and it's going to probably always be like that. Not as large of a disparity, but still a
Scroll
disparity.
down because what he says doesn't really garner. So there's 43 picks of those 239 that came from G6 or FCS. So it's nowhere near as dire of a talent drain as he's making it seem. Actually, I'd probably argue that some of those guys would have probably been drafted had they stayed, but maybe this helped get them the notoriety and be able for people to be able to see that they could do it on a big stage. The portal gives and it takes away, but like, can you go back to the draft? Like, it just said conferences, or did because how many? I want to see how many drafted by each school. My bad. I would like to see that again, like the top schools, because Indiana technically has at least one that I saw that we know came from a G6 because that guy transferred when his coach left, James Madison. So we have to stop trying to find different ways to sub and put this on the kids. When a lot of these like Indiana had eight players drafted. So of that, Let's see here. This is the most in program history. That had 2 in the first round. So do we know where, let me see here. Where did Aiden Fisher come from? Sorry, this thing's trying to get me. Aiden Fisher from James Madison. So that's 1. So we know we have at least 2. I'm pretty sure if we go through all of it, Aiden Fisher.
Here's
That's
the picture. There.
So 1, 2, 3. So 4 of the 30 came from one fucking school that left with the coach. So like, come on, man. That's not the talent. It's not just a talent drain. It reminds me of a conversation I had years ago. And it came after I read this book called Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson. And it came upon the time when HBCU started saying this, why not us? Why not us? Like they were really trying to put the pressure on young African-American males to not choose the PWI, but choose the HBCU. And in and of itself, that's not a problem. But what I told people is you only speak of this in sports. You don't talk about this across the board where there's a real issue if you are pro HBCU and you're trying to protect HBCUs, because you're asking young men to do something that you would not do yourself. What do you mean by that, James? Like, I asked him that. I was like, he was a prominent lawyer. I was like, are you going to stop taking the cases that you're going to take? Are you going to go backwards? And you said no. You're going to go take the bag as a fucking adult that's already lived their lives. That's where they're supposed to be at, and you won't go back. But you want a kid who hasn't gotten a chance to be that way to make the adult decision when you, the adult, won't make the decision. And it's not just athletics. It's academics. Our best professors don't stay at HBCUs. They go to take the money. The best students, we don't say like go to FAMU because it's got the best education when you could go to Harvard. You go to Harvard. You go to the places where you could go. So I'm saying that to say is like right now we're making that same correlation. Like you're not saying the talent drain, the talent drain because of the best coaches leave G6s. They leave FCS schools to be able to go to other places. And so when you were recruited by a guy and you talk about loyalty and honor, and you don't talk about loyalty. I'm loyal to the guy who came in my mama house and said, I'm going to take care of your son. I'm not going to stay around for the guy who I don't fucking know. I'm going to go with the guy who I know. Right? This is just how human behavior works, guys. So like, anyways, that quote, that tweet is a bunch of superficial spoon-fed bullshit to perpetuate how people feel about NIL and the transfer portal without really getting to the whole root cause of why this is happening. And again, that's just one school. If I really probably went down and picked it out, we'd probably find a lot more examples of that shit.
Next, we got some more info from the draft, courtesy of the matchup tracker and of Brian D. Fisher. So, Brian D. Fisher posted the NFL draft by conference, and the SEC set a new record for players drafted with 87. I'm going to share this with you guys right quick so we can see the full list of conferences right here. Got this for you guys. So you have the SEC with 87 set a new record, the Big 10 with 68, ACC with 38, Big 12 with 38, and Notre Dame or FBS Independent with 7, FCS 4, American 4, MAC 4, Mountain West 2, Sunbelt 2, Conference USA 1, and International 1. That is UR. Bernard, sorry guys, this did not share. Let me make sure it is on the screen. Sorry about that, but this rounds out your draft selections by conference. And yes, SEC set a new record for number of players drafted by a single conference with 87.
Big Ten's numbers are getting kind of injected because they have Pac-12 schools that are with them now. So, but bottom line is, if you want to go to the NFL, you got to go to Power Four. If you want to get drafted, if you want to get drafted into the NFL, you gotta go P4.
Or Notre Dame.
Right. Yeah, my bad. Yeah.
They are still preserving their independence. And let's take a look at Notre Dame, because according to CFB Tracker, they lead the way in terms of all-time draft picks. So Notre Dame has 544, SC in second place with 536, Ohio State with 514, and then you have Alabama and Michigan tied with 428 to round out your top 5. Take a look at the big 3 in Florida. Florida leads the way at 10 with 387, Miami at 12 with 378, and Florida State at 24 with 291. So some other notable schools on this list include, you have Colorado at 29 with 280. Take a look even at Nebraska, 14 with 371. Washington, 333. Michigan State, 325 as well. Even Minnesota coming in at 27 with 285. But these are your all-time NFL draft picks by the FBS squad. So James, does this list surprise you at all?
No, it's especially the schools that have been pretty good, but like it'll rot. Like some of these schools will fall off over the few years, but Pitt had a run that people don't even like. Miami talks about their rings, but like nobody talks about Pitt's rings, like which they have a lot of them in the 80s. Notre Dame, USC, Ohio State. Those are a lot of those schools in the top are leather helmet schools. So they've been having they've been good and been having people get drafted since before segregation. So like, before desegregation, excuse me. So like those in Miami, Miami's rise has been great. Florida's consistently put out a lot of draft picks, even during their down years, which is incredible when you think about, like, they had 7 draft picks for a 6-6 ball club. Like, no wonder that guy, you had to fire that guy. You can't say it's talent. But Florida State hasn't been playing football for over 100 years yet. So we still got a good ways to go before we get to that.
We have some news about Diego Pavia, James. So Diego Pavia did not get selected in this draft, and he is actually the first Heisman finalist since 2014 to go undrafted. But we have some news courtesy of Adam Schefter, because he accepted an invitation to the Ravens mini camp, James.
Yeah, I mean, white people got the racist whites that want to find something to argue about have an argument with Diego. Like, but the problem is that Diego doesn't have a father that's really, really good and a lot of hype. And Diego's a good ball player. He's beat Alabama. He's beat some teams that ranked, and but he doesn't have the measurables. He doesn't have the things, and he's probably gonna get cut. He's definitely not beating out Lamar. So that's why he wanted to fight to stay in school so long. So he knows he's gonna be at UPS. So, which is nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with 99% of all student athletes go pro in something other than their sport. So it's coming for them. Good stuff. I think you're on mute, Jaden. Jaden got it. Well, yeah, he got booted, but we got we're past the 2-hour mark. We had a lot of stuff to cover. We haven't had a show in a minute, but we'll be here on Wednesday, Hump Day. Let's try to get the numbers up, getting some of the different things. I've had some incredible meetings, even going through this stuff with 7-on-7. But we may be getting back on terrestrial radio. We may be doing some other stuff. But I know we didn't really get a chance to get into Big Games BS or Bussin' or all of those other different things, but the draft was pretty intensive, and then we had some things that we had to discuss. And then y'all got me talking about the scientific things about training and whatnot. But Jaden, is there anything else that's pressing that we need to talk, or can everything be pushed to Wednesday?
No, nothing pressing. We got through the draft. Sorry about that. Tried to get this video playing, but no, we discussed the draft. That was the main thing. Want to discuss Daryl Jackson. Wanted to shout out him, only FSU player to get selected in this draft. So we wanted to highlight him for sure.
Yeah. Outside of that, man, guys, don't let the BS distract you. Meg is a turnstile, and Clay. It was just Clay's turn. She's gonna be okay. She'll find another rich dude. She's gonna be okay, girls. Y'all don't have to defend her. And fellas, don't, just because they bashed Kevin Samuels when he died. She didn't die. Just relax, man. Let her be. She'll be fine. I promise y'all. She's young. She'll recover. And when it's all said and done, she'll find a Russell Wilson to settle down with and have some babies and lift it. There's always somebody there for her. But outside of that, man, we will see you guys on Wednesday. Appreciate everybody for chopping it up with me. We will see you guys next time.
Thank you.